Oh, yeah. Hello. Come on, Ian.
Oh, we're on. We're on.
You're on.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Naked Coach Collective, and it is one of our hot topic episodes, and we're talking about AI, the good, the bad, and the ugly, which incidentally is one of my favourite films of all time. Please tell me you've seen it. You've seen it?
Of course I have. I grew up in a house with my brother was mad for Westerns and anything like that, anything that had a cowboy and a horse and that or football. So yes, I have seen it. Probably
Good.
more times than I care to have wanted to.
Anyway, sorry, I went off on that. So AI, the good, the bad. And I've got a couple of kind of opinions on this, but let's start with yourself, Dee. So, overall, good or bad, in your opinion?
Gosh, that's a question potentially for after the conversation. But at the moment, overall, I can't say. I'm going to say scary. I'm going to say it'll be interesting to see what your thoughts are on it, and it might help me to sort of get a bit of a grip on what I'm thinking, because I've got a lot of conflicting views on it, and it's a scary proposition for me at the moment.
Yeah, I think from my side, I can see both sides, so I can see the good in it and what it will do, and all the different new businesses and opportunities that it'll bring for people. But I can also see the downside in all the jobs it's going to take away from people. And I just have, when I first heard about this ChatGPT, which is the main AI tool that people are using, when I first heard about it, I just instantly had in my head Terminator and Skynet. Or iRobot. I just had those kind of things in my head. But obviously I've used it myself. And what I think now is, have you ever seen, I don't know whether it's a Disney or Pixar film, have you ever seen WALL-E? That is all I can imagine now, like for people's future. Because WALL-E's obviously like a little robot, but the people that are in that ship,
oh God, I don't remember it in that much detail.
They're just all fat messes, and they've just got a screen in front of them all day, every day. There's no social interaction with anybody. They're just riding around in this ship with a screen in front of them all day, every day. That's all I can picture in my head now.
Okay. This is a big subject, right? This is a really big subject. And when you said, let's do AI as a hot topic, initially I thought, no.
Boring.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, look, I'm quite, I think I'm quite political, and we, and at the dinner table, and we, there's lots of political conversations going on, as well as good music, by the way. Jules, if you're listening, he's like the DJ and he plays great music. But anyway, by the by, right? The conversations are generally that AI has the potential to create this what you've just described in my head. I think dystopia. I think that kind of world where people have no purpose, and there's a lot of stuff going on where we can talk about the universal payment or something, so people get paid to not work because the AI is doing all the work and everybody gets the same amount of money. I mean, it sounds like communism to me, but it also sounds really terrifying, because what we then take away from people, which I think is a fundamental need, is a purpose. Right? So you're going to get all your bills paid. You're going to get food to eat. You'll have, your physical needs will be met. But you're not creating anything. You're not imagining stuff. You're not having a goal to work towards. You're not the human needs. That's why I said scary, because those human needs that we need a purpose, we need to feel like we're doing something that contributes to our family, to our friends, to our society, to our world. And that has the danger. I think AI has the danger of taking that away from a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that universal payment thing, because the creator of ChatGPT, Sam Altman, is the guy who's creating that universal payment.
Do I need to rest my case here?
Yeah, exactly. Are we done now?
I didn't know that. How do you know that?
It's been on. I was listening to Diary of a CEO, and he was talking about it on there.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, not fact checked, Stephen Bartlett.
No, no.
It's just conjecture at this moment in time.
Okay, but it just goes to tell you that there's a lot more at play here than any of us can see.
Exactly, absolutely. But I also think as well that there's a social aspect to this. So people are going to. I mean, we're already at a place where people are just walking down the street and they're got their head in the phone, right?
Yeah.
Not talking to each other. Isn't it weird how no one talks on the phone really anymore? It's just all texting.
I do.
Well, we're kind of old school like that, aren't we? We're old school like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like. But
it's true. It is true.
So people could get in arguments with other people and then turn to chat GPT to figure out what to do. And people are not going through the kind of hardships of creating their own things and doing things to build more resilience and build those social skills. So I think there's a whole kind of potential knock-on effect of people just not going to have any life skills and all that kind of stuff. However, the opposite to that is, I've mentioned this before, I don't know whether on this podcast or not, but there's a lady, and I'll find out her name. I'm going to go to X, it's called now, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lady on there who she runs a school in, I think it's at, do you know where Starbase is located? I think it's Texas, isn't it? I don't know. But they essentially have in that school kids from the parents who work at SpaceX, and then kids from the local area as well. And they integrate them, and they're teaching them for just 2 hours a day. And it's AI that is teaching them. And the AI is learning the best way to teach those children. And the rest of the day, they are working with each other in little groups. They're building and programming robots and all this kind of thing in their groups. So it's a social interaction from that side. So they're probably being more social than they are in normal school, where you just sat there listening to a teacher drone on for 6-7 hours a day. They're teaching them for 2 hours a day. That's literally it. And they're doing better than any other schools in the area. It's crazy. And they're way up there in like the national statistics as well, in terms of like scoring on the grades and what have you, purely because it's just the AI that's teaching them, and it's learning what their weaknesses are and how to adapt the AI's teaching method to those children. So it's absolutely fascinating to read about it. So that's a good obvious benefit of it as well.
You say that, but remember, I come from a teaching background. I know a lot of teachers, and what you're suggesting is that teachers are out of a job.
Yes.
Right, but teachers do more than impart knowledge. Teachers model behavior. Right? teachers show how you can analyze. And I know AI can do the analytical stuff, and even it can even give you an opinion. But, you know, okay, let me make sure I get this right. You know, you can't, AI is so advanced, and you say it can look at each child, it can take from each child's output how they learn and teach to them individually so that they learn the best way. But right, okay, you have a teacher standing in front of a classroom. A real teacher is not just reading the information and saying, say an English teacher. I know an English teacher. Jules is an English teacher. We've had these conversations, right? You know, you're not just standing there teaching Macbeth or whatever you're teaching. You are talking about the nuances of the language. You are talking about where this might have come from. You're stepping away from the play, and you're talking about the origin of the language, or, you know, and making a discussion in the class about what you're learning. And in the process of doing that, you are creating thinking minds. And yeah, you can go off and play and create things in your groups with all your friends and create robots and everything. But everybody there is coming at it from the same angle. And that individual freedom of thought is where I'm thinking, hold on, we need to be developing that, not just making them all think the same way. And there's a few things to unpick in that. So your AI 2-hour screen is teaching them. It may well be giving them leanings towards thinking in a certain way. Yeah. Who is putting that information into the AI? Where is that thought coming from? You put a child in a school, they've got 10 teachers telling them 10 different perspectives, so they can then create their own thought. So that's why I would worry about such a system.
Yeah, I totally agree. It depends on who is programming that AI. I highly encourage you to look at it. Her name is Mackenzie Price.
Oh, you've told me
so
this.
fascinating.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. It is.
However, having said that,
yeah,
what's to stop teachers with personal opinions putting that on children as well?
Yeah, and they do.
Which they do.
They do. And you know, the school has become fodder for opinions coming down from government. You know,
Exactly.
There's a lot of things that go on in schools now, and I mean, you know, I haven't worked in a school for, I don't know, 8 years, maybe, I don't know, a long time, and I was primary school, but especially in the secondary schools, you know, there's opinion being brought in. For example, let's just talk about the woke stuff. All right. So you need to have in a school these days, it's taught. You're taught that to think a certain way about something is correct. For example, history. All right. You are taught that. Let me try and think of something that's not too contentious. Right.
Well, this is a hot topic.
It's a hot topic, but okay. Give me a moment. Let me think. Give me a woke policy.
People identifying as cats.
Right. Okay.
I've literally seen that in the news for a school. Okay. All right. Crazy.
So in a school, you can identify as cat, and actually, that's not that far off, because I've heard a story about this as well. And you know, of somebody, a child identifying as a cat, and we've had a hot topic about this similar subject before. So, the programming is to all of the children and all of the pupils in that school that you must think that's okay. Right? Now, that might have triggered a few people who are listening, because they think, of course you must think it's okay. All right? But my point is, whether you think it's okay or not, you're right for yourself. And you are entitled to have that opinion, to say, you're not a flipping cat, or of course you're a cat, meow, whatever. But you have the right to say both. And what they're not doing now, and what is coming down from government level, is that right to be different in a way that, so it's you have your right to be different and be a cat, right? But you don't, but they've taken away the right from everybody else to say, no, that's not okay with me.
Yeah.
And if you have AI that is programmed by one institution, whatever that may be, the next generation, the generation doing it now may have a little bit of conflict, may think, no, maybe that's not right. But the generation below there, after them, sod it, you're screwed, right? What we then have is this dystopia coming in and everybody thinking in the same sort of way. No creativity. Sorry, I'm going into one. I actually didn't think I'd have anything to say on this subject.
I know, I knew you would. To me, the two things are the same in terms of who programmed the AI and who is teaching is the same thing for me. So whoever programmed the AI has got the opinions of whoever's programming it.
Right.
And that person teaching the children also is given the same opinions. So to me, it's the same thing.
No, but what you then have in a school and in a situation where you have teachers as opposed to AI is you've got 10 teachers giving 10 different opinions, hopefully. And
yes.
Right.
But those teachers could be giving their personal opinion, which might not be right.
But doesn't that open up a discussion? And might not be right according to whom?
Well, this is what I'm saying. So you're saying it's whoever's programmed the AI. So why is that such a bad thing? If the teacher who's delivering a lesson can also have a personal opinion that they deliver to the children that you might not agree with. To me, it's the same argument for both. It's the same argument for both.
There's a qualifying factor here in the fact that you've got one AI talking to all the children with all the same opinion. Whereas if you've got teachers in a school, you've got hundreds of teachers. Teachers are scared to give their opinions these days, and often they don't, because everything is so much more regimented. I mean, way back when we were in school, our teachers would give. My teachers, I actually do remember being in secondary school class, and I had a teacher with his feet up on the table, smoking a cigarette. His back, his back to the board, saying, "Page 23, get on with it." But right. But then I had other teachers who said, "Okay, so we're in the 80s, and we're talking about this, and opening up a debate." Right. So opening up a debate is another point that you're not going to get if you're just actively working on creating a robot when you're in your team and you're working solo with your computer AI for 2 hours. When are you debating ideas with
to me, that depends on the group dynamics and how it's set up by, because so they'll not have teachers there. They have what do they call? I can't remember what they call them, but they have facilitators. Yeah, they have them there, so they could facilitate debates and what have you.
Do they? Do they have?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it that much to know whether that's it, and I haven't looked into it enough to know whether it's just one AI that's teaching them or whether it's different.
Do they sit in a classroom and they say, "Okay, let's discuss"?
Yes.
Let's discuss Macbeth.
I know that they're in classrooms and everything, and they get them in those group dynamics and everything. But quick question for you.
Yeah.
Not once in school did I ever have a debate. Ever. So there you go.
You're probably sick that day.
There weren't any AI there. I'm not old enough. I'm not young enough for there to be AI there. So not once did any debates ever get initiated when I was at school.
Okay. Well, I'll accept that fact.
So it's just, to me, it's a very similar argument. I did used to love one teacher, though, Mr. Castledine. He taught physics. He was great. Absolutely great. He made it so much fun.
I'll shout out to Mr. Castledine. My shout out would be to Sheila McMillan.
If you're still here.
Yeah, if you're still here. But bless her, she was probably in her 40s or 50s when we were in school, so chances of her still being around, rest in peace, Sheila Macmillan. So, she was my English teacher, loved her to bits, But anyway, so this is not going where I thought it would go at all. We jumped in deep right at the beginning. I mean, I thought we'd be talking about what AI can do for the business or not do.
Well, there's that conversation as well, isn't there? So there's the conversation around it gives people such opportunities to help them create their own businesses, but it also gives businesses such an opportunity to completely cut costs on the workforce and put people out of jobs. So it's kind of like to me, it's a case of those people that are losing their jobs to AI potentially need to learn how to use it to create their own thing, because they're saying potentially that, well, my skills are not needed anymore. What am I going to do? And to me, the answer is create new skills and learn something and create something where you're using AI as well yourself, or perhaps something where it's not going to be used.
Okay, let me ask you a question. All right, this is so you are an entrepreneur. You've been through quite a lot of transitions in your entrepreneurial life. You've done lots of things. You've tried things. You've tried a business. You've tried this business job. I mean, I'm not saying anything people don't know. You've already said this on the podcast before. You've tried lots of businesses. You've been through there. You've had ups and downs and feedback moments, right? So you've had all of that. If you had gone through every one of your businesses, business ideas, and everything that you've done so far, tapping into GPT or other AI are available, right? You would you know now what you knew then? Would you know now what you know now if you'd done it that way?
Sorry, say that all again for me.
What?
Sorry, what? Rephrase the question for me.
Rephrase the question. Okay, so you've come a long way, and your head is full of a lot of knowledge from all the feedback that you've had. And but by feedback, I mean failure or things that didn't go according to plan, right? So you've got, your head is full of all this information, learning, growth from all of that, all of those times over the last 10 years or whatever it's been that you've been an entrepreneur and you've been figuring it out, right? If you made all of your decisions over the last 10 years based on tapping a question into AI, right? How much of that knowledge that you have accrued through all of your attempts would you have now?
None.
So, okay, so then you're in the situation where you're setting up another business and you've got all that information that you've slogged for, you've put your time, energy, effort, love, sweat, and tears into. All right. And now you can start a new thing with all of that confidently sitting on your back, right? But if you'd have done it with AI up until this point in the last 10 years, you would be like, okay, I'm starting a new business. Let me tap it into AI and off you go. And then what have you learned?
So,
and what if AI becomes something different tomorrow?
So, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think you may be generalizing AI to just chat GPT and putting in questions and it gives you answers. Whereas I'm thinking of, so there's something called Replit AI, and it literally creates apps for you. So you can create apps for whatever it is, and you can create AI tools for a particular job. And then, so I'm thinking about creating businesses using AI to do something.
Yeah.
Not just, for instance, typing into ChatGPT, I want to create a business. Can you help me figure out what the best business is?
Can you do it for me?
Kind of thing.
Can you do all of that? I think I mean both. Both, because
I think if you're using it to create a tool to be used, then I think it opens up so many opportunities for people.
Okay, so give me an example in my business. How would I use AI as a tool rather than as a as something that stops me from discovering stuff for myself and learning things and making my own mistakes?
So you could use AI to. So once you've, let's think about this. So I don't know, you create loads of content yourself. You don't use AI for that. It's you creating that content. You're putting your message out there. People click a link. You could use AI to, once people have clicked that link, to go through to watch something else, sign up to whatever it is that you go, and then it feeds into to become like an opportunity, and then you can follow it through to like an automation of, they get emails that you've crafted these emails, but it flows it all through for you, and it's like, I don't know, like a nurture sequence of 30 emails that get sent out, and then they might not be thinking about buying from you, but they like what you're talking about, and then they'll eventually come around to buying from you. And so instead of you sending these emails out to every person every single time someone signs up, it's all automated for you.
It's an automated system, right? So AI can automate your
like an AI automated system for you.
Yeah, I get that.
So that's the kind of thing I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and that's just going to save you hundreds of hours, isn't it? Right?
Exactly.
I get that. That's a reasonable. That's a plus.
Exactly, and that's the kind of thing I'm thinking of. And
because
so,
you
like,
still
people
have to do
in.
the work.
Sorry, say again.
You still have to do the work, right? You still have to write your emails.
Yeah.
You can use AI to write those emails as well.
You can.
You don't get your personal touch.
Exactly. Which to me is the thing that is the downside to it. It's that human element to it.
Yeah, think about the marketing emails that you get, right? I think, and I may well be wrong, and I will never know, that I have a pretty decent AI radar
detector,
right?
Bullshit detector.
It's not all bullshit though, is it? Because really, you can create some pretty good content, and I have started to think about polishing up stuff that I say with that. Okay, I'll give you an example. All right, I'll give you an example. I wrote a eulogy for my father. He passed away, and so I wrote my eulogy. It came to me. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, like a couple of days before the funeral. I'm stressing. What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And somebody had said to me, write what you want and then put it through ChatGPT. And I didn't. I'm so pleased that I did. I just wrote and it came out, and I didn't put it through ChatGPT. But even on something as personal as that, you could put your words into an AI question, and it comes out with a eulogy for someone you love. And it just made me a bit sad to think that sort of thing could happen,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not wrong, right? It's not wrong, because who am I to say what's wrong?
Yeah, to me, like you say, it's just sad. It's just sad.
It would have tidied up my language. It would have put it would have made a flow better, maybe, right? But it wouldn't have sounded like me.
No.
And I needed to sound like me. And even in my marketing, and even when I'm talking, I need to sound like me, because I feel the authenticness is, whether you like me or you don't, it's have your choice based on knowing the real me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And AI sort of is threatening to take that away from us, also threatening to make us forget what we are.
I think for me, when it first came out, and for the content stuff, and I was like, oh, this is great, I don't have to do social media anymore, I can just. But even then, you know what I'm like for social media, I hate it.
Yeah.
It drives me insane. Even then, when I thought, oh, I'll just get AI to do it now, it's fine. But even then, it's just like, just no.
You have
It's
to
not
remember
right.
this represents you. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
if it's
And
not,
it's
speaking your.
just doesn't seem right.
Yeah. Okay, there was one more point. I was making notes as you were speaking earlier about the brain
Look at
potential.
you talking.
No, it was just you were talking and I didn't want to interrupt you, so I made a note. It's just like talking about going back to the brain potential. You know, when you do something, whether it's right, wrong, whatever, you learn. And that once you don't learn the fundamentals of how to learn and you forget how to learn, you're in quite dangerous territory, because then you remain stuck in a position. And okay, your business might be flying because you're using AI, but from a personal human perspective, it concerns me. Nothing becomes embedded. You don't need to learn anything. I knew the streets. I had a business before, long time ago, where I was driving around a delivery truck in London, and I knew all the inroads, outroads, back roads, because this was when satellite. What was it called?
Sat nav.
Sat nav, right? Sat nav used to go nuts in London because of all the tall buildings, right? So you're driving around London, and you can't rely on it. You have to get your
Did you have your A to Z?
You have to get your A to Z out, right? And start because
Is it you that said? Do you even know what an A to Z is, Ian? Joker.
But my point is, with the invention of sat nav and the fact that it actually works now in tall buildings and in all these areas, I've forgotten how to get from A to B in London, right? I've forgotten the roads now. I knew the road names, I knew everything, right? And my brain has gone to mush on the subject.
Well, it's kind of similar. I was listening to Diary of a CEO earlier,
Yeah.
and Simon Sinek was on, and they were talking about AI. And he said, I used to know everyone's phone number.
Exactly.
And then the phones came out, and he's like, I cannot tell you the phone number of my nearest and dearest. And I am exactly the same.
I don't know Isha's phone number.
I don't even know mine.
No, but that's bad.
Don't even know mine.
I'm actually going to get off here and I'm going to learn Isha's phone number, because that's important.
Yeah. Isha is her daughter, by the way.
Yeah, she's my daughter. Fantastic. Oh, I love it.
Oh, dear. We do like to joke on here.
We do like a joke, but it's a very serious subject. And I'm all for progress. I think progress is good. But that thing that you described at the beginning, the Wall-E robots, the people, the lack of purpose, I think it's a worry. And also, did you tell me this one time ages ago about, is it all the Silicon Valley workers who don't allow their children to use computers? Was it you who I was having this discussion with?
Don't think so.
I mean, people who create the iPads and the modern facilities of the world that we all just love to stick our faces in the whole day, they don't allow their own children to use it.
I wonder why.
I wonder why.
Well, it's like the owners of like cigarette companies and what have you.
Oh God!
You could pay your bottom dollar. They don't want their family to be smoking. Well, they're happy taking everyone else's money for it. Same thing.
That's a whole other subject. Maybe we should do a thing on vapes.
Vapes. Oh
Vapes.
God.
Absolutely.
They give me headaches.
I wouldn't know, but all I do know is that I do hear that there's a lot of illnesses that we don't know anything about. Fluid in.
Yeah. Whenever I'm near someone who's vaping away, because I don't vape. I don't smoke.
No, I don't know.
But it just gives me a headache. It's like strong perfume. Someone's got a lot of perfume on. It gives me a massive headache. Horrible.
Audible. Anyway. Okay. Now ask your question again.
Yeah. So AI, good or bad?
You first.
I think
I've got my answer.
there's two extremes, isn't there? And I think the reality is it's going to land somewhere in the middle. I started it with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's just call it ugly.
Yeah, let's just call it ugly. Inevitably, people will lose their jobs. Inevitably, whole parts of industry will demise. But then you look over the past, over history, we have far fewer farriers, or we have far fewer, whatever business, whatever lines of work that have gone, developed into something else. Sorry, go on.
Well, it's like Daniel Priestley talks about this, and he says, imagine if you were one of 100 people who are out picking crops on a farm, and then some guy just turns up on a tractor one day.
And that's exactly what's happened in the past.
Those 100 people are not needed anymore.
Yeah, so your AI is the tractor, right?
Exactly. It's the change, isn't it? And that's what kind of the reason I brought up the school thing as well is because, and Daniel Priestley also talks about this, is the current school system is set up still for the industrial age and not the current and future digital age. So we're teaching kids still about mainly, like, so when I did business studies in high school and college, it was completely brick and mortar stuff. Obviously, because at the time, internet was just a baby, really. But now they still teach about brick and mortar stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, just develop it and talk about online businesses and all this kind of thing.
It's outdated for sure.
It's so outdated.
It is really.
I feel like they're setting kids up to almost fail, and they're setting them up to just go get another job and start paying your taxes.
Yeah, but then that job is not going to exist, is it? So if they're teaching accountancy,
then get on that universal payment.
they got on the universal payment, and there's your fella, I've forgotten his name, who's done both, who's an AI king and universal payment guy. What's his name?
My fella. Sam Altman, his name is.
That geezer.
Geezer. That little rascal.
It's he's laughing one way or the other, right?
He's laughing all the way to the bank. Oh, absolutely, he is.
So what? I mean, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's she's middle class, does all right, has a nice life. But she was saying, in terms of the future and how things are going, there's going to be a really elite rich, and there's going to be the rest of us. And even people who think they're doing quite well now are going to be lumped in with the rest of us. And it's a scary proposition. It might not happen in our generation, in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But certainly a couple of generations down, I think I'm concerned for.
So these are the different. We're getting into kind of like political territory now, aren't we? So it's like, well, do you want to live in a capitalist country, or do you want to live in something like socialist or whatever, where everybody's the same? And then you just get into one will replace the other, and that'll get replaced by the same thing that got replaced ages ago. And it's, yeah.
I think it's I think you need to. We can really put this back down to your core values. And I know, talking about I don't know when we did this. The topic was last week or the week before. Your core values, right? I know that one of my core values is freedom, and I want the freedom to have the potential to earn more if I get lucky or work hard enough or do the right things. I want the potential and the freedom to not do that. And I want, the universal payment, all of that takes that away.
People just become
for me, that takes away
zombies.
Yeah. I want the freedom to think and feel and do what I want to think and feel and do, provided I'm not, stepping on anybody else's freedoms as well.
Yeah.
But that world that you describe doesn't allow for that.
No. Nope. What a great place to leave it. What an uplifting show this one's been.
Now, listen, okay, if you're listening to this, if you're still here and you're listening to this, you need to get involved in this one, right?
If you're still here. If we haven't bored you to tears.
Yeah, this is a topic that we can debate for hours and hours and hours, because there's just so much that is there to unpick and discuss, right?
I don't think you had anything to say.
I had nothing to say on the subject. I was thinking, Ian, you host, I'll just mosey along and yeah. Obviously I had one or two things to say on the subject.
I knew you would. You always do. So opinionated.
I'm not.
Well, that's a good thing.
I'm living, let live. I am. I really am. And
let live. I am.
Live and let live. I am.
You mag.
Yeah. What? What did you call me?
What you can call me?
What did you call me? What about? Oh, right. I want
anything else to say, or are we wrapping it up there?
I want to know a question from you. Right. Okay. So, if you could go back to pre AI days,
yep,
would you?
Yep.
Me too.
We went that long ago.
Yeah, but if you were to ask a 20-year-old, who knows what they might say? Right, let's call it. Come on, let's call it. I think. Yeah.
Like, subscribe, share with people who you think might find this interesting. Probably not a lot of people.
Look, if you know Stephen Bartlett as well, can you just share it with him, because he's had a shout out in this episode. So
he has.
Yeah, he has. So let's get him on board.
A couple. I mentioned it a couple of times. You're welcome, Steve.
Yeah.
Puddies now. I can call him Steve, not Steve.
Jump on our bandwagon, Steve. You're welcome.
Yeah. Until next time, folks.
Be there.
Be bare.
And be
naked.